I'm really excited to be able to speak with you here today about the Digitalization Working Group that we're launching at this event. I work at the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. It's one of the U.S. Department of Energy's national laboratories. I had also previously worked at the International Energy Agency. The Digitalization Working Group is a collaboration, a brand new collaboration between a range of both a range of countries from the United States, Denmark, Germany, as well as other countries from the southern parts of the world. On this first graphic, you can see decarbonization is clearly driving a lot of our energy policies and energy decisions today. It's the backdrop upon which we often think about what our future planning, what our path forward may be. And the meetings in Glasgow just a few weeks ago, and in the lead up to that, countries committed to new targets on reducing emissions. So those nationally determined contributions, as they're known, have significantly helped and will likely lower future emissions, but there's still more work needed. They don't get us surely enough to 1.5 degrees Celsius as a planet. Digitalization can play a role, we think. It can help optimize energy use, accelerate renewable energy, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. By optimizing energy use, I mean improve energy efficiency, find ways to better link demand at times that are of most interest, let's say, to the grid, when it's best to integrate renewables when they are at their peak, when carbon emissions from the power grid are lowest. And overall, that can help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Digitalization at the same time can mean many things. Part of the initial work of the Digitalization Working Group will be to prioritize and highlight which areas the working group members would like to focus on first. So the Digitalization Working Group will serve as a platform for members to learn about each other's experiences with digitalization and work jointly to understand key gaps and priorities. So next slide, please. Some of the areas that we're considering working in include buildings, industry, and possibly transport. Buildings and industry are both currently in our initial work plan. Buildings are important because through buildings, with digitalization, buildings can significantly improve their energy efficiency. They through things such as energy management systems, smart heating and cooling, connected appliances and equipment that can improve the comfort of the occupants while reducing energy use. Industry, there are approaches to smart manufacturing that can optimize energy and resource use and improve supply chain management, which also allow for differentiation of products based on different environmental attributes. Regarding transportation, digitalization of transportation can improve fuel economy, for example, through route optimization and enable autonomous driving systems. It can also help with, for example, electric vehicles, where to place charging stations and when to encourage vehicles to charge. For example, charging stations that are at offices will encourage people to charge during the day, when in some countries, in some locations, the peak demands are placed on the grid. Charging stations near residents, on the other hand, may encourage people to charge in the evening. So there are many aspects of digitalization that also relate to transportation. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, there are other elements, potential elements of digitalization that the working group could choose to prioritize, and we'll be looking forward in the coming weeks at our kickoff event to get a better sense of priorities for collaboration of the member countries. There are also a few challenges, if you go to the next slide, and opportunities. Next slide, please. So affordability is one. Some of the technologies can be expensive, although they do save energy, but ensuring that the first cost is affordable and countries have the capacity to understand how to best use them. So building that capacity and knowledge. There are also, as you connect more things to the internet and the world in general becomes more interconnected, there are, of course, cybersecurity risks that are important to consider and mitigate. In addition, figuring out what the best role of digitalization is, not simply having digitalization for the sake of digitalization, but figuring out what strategic vision might be for integrating these technologies in a way that makes sense for countries based on their markets, based on their economies, we think is also important. With that, I also would like to mention a little bit about our initial plans. So we are planning on hosting our kickoff event on December 6th. If you're interested in joining that, you can reach out to the EE Hub. You can also reach out to me. My email is m.evans, E-V-A-N-S, @pnnl.gov. That meeting will be an opportunity to learn a little bit more about digitalization, hear what different member countries are interested in, and then we'll follow that on December 13th with a work planning meeting where we get a little bit more into the nuts and bolts of what specific topics we would like to cover. Our overarching plan for our first year is to understand where we are, so do an analysis of literature of the current status quo, understand country perspectives, assess the gaps, and then based on that, develop, plan a detailed collaboration based on the leading priorities, gaps, and opportunities. So with that, I would like to welcome you to the collaboration. We're very much looking forward to this and are excited about the potential and excited about the level of interest and activity we're seeing from many of the member countries. Again, December 6th for our kickoff event and December 13th from there. We'll have a series of events going on throughout the year. So with that, thank you very much and appreciate the time to be able to come to you and speak.